Welcome to Let's Talk Fashion, powered by Bangalore Fashion Week. I'm here with Sounak from House of Three, who've just showcased their collections Kumari Kandam and Kalgi for the 22nd edition of Bangalore Fashion Week. How are you feeling this evening?
Feeling very excited and relieved that it's over.
A lot of stress backstage, is it?
Oh yeah, as always. Backstage can never ever be smooth no matter how much you plan it. It's never going to happen.
So tell me what inspired you behind this collection?
Before I get into the collection, so we completed 10 years, just like Bangalore Fashion Week did. We are about the same age. I think both entities were born around the same time, just a few months apart.
Okay.
From different mothers and fathers. And we've had very different journeys, and then we met somewhere very recently. I thought that it was important to do a kind of a retrospective, considering that we've completed a decade. And this being home ground for both Bangalore Fashion Week and House of Three, it makes the most beautiful synergy, especially thanks to my brother Nisar and the entire team of Bangalore Fashion Week, who've been extremely cooperative and accommodative to every small, tiny little, demand or request or whatever I might have had. And I'm very grateful to all of them. In terms of inspiration, so basically we showed two collections. One was Spring Summer 20, which is called Kumari Kandam. And the other is Autumn Winter 19, which was called Kalgi. Before I get into the specifics of these two, let's talk a little bit about the format in which we function.
Sure.
So every season we pick up two states. That completely depends on what's the mood around. So last Autumn Winter we picked up Kashmir and Uttar Pradesh. We always have a narrative where it's a bit beyond fashion. After having been 20 years in the industry and 10 years with House of Three, I've noticed that people at large have a perception that people in fashion are frivolous, are moody, are a little too of the surface. It's all about how they look. They misbehave, they are moody, they throw tantrums. I wanted to change that perception. I wanted to make people realize that fashion can be soulful. In fact, House of Three, the name, comes about because it's clothing for your mind, body and soul.
Oh wow.
It's not just for your body.
That's very nice.
Every collection that we make, there is a little bit of history, a little bit of anthropology, a little bit of culture, a little bit of informative, educative information without sounding preachy.
Wow.
Our job is not to preach. Our job is not to dictate terms. Our job is to make people aware of how fortunate they are to be born in this country.
Wow.
Now, 10,000 years of history, that's a privilege very few have in this world.
Yeah.
So while it's important to go ahead in life and be progressive and embrace the world, be a global citizen, it's also important that you're rooted to your source, to where you were born. That's essentially what we always try to do. So Kalgi, which was Autumn Winter last, with Kashmir and Uttar Pradesh, we used Banarasi brocades.
Oh, wow.
We used pashminas, which are made out of pure wool that come from a particular kind of sheep. The Iktar embroidery of Kashmir, which is almost going extinct. Zardozi and chikankari, which are assets of Uttar Pradesh and Uttaranchal. Now, a lot of people don't know Banarasi saris, Banarasi handlooms. No wedding in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, or even in West Bengal, no wedding happens without the Banarasi sari.
Oh, whoa.
Now that Banarasi sari in a Hindu wedding, all Banarasi handlooms are woven by Muslims, traditionally. So for the school of thought that believes that, well, Muslims are not really welcome here or this is not their home, think about it. There are 4 limbs. Each limb is a religion. Each of them have a birthright to make this their home. They've been living here for generations, and the beauty of India is our acceptance.
Yes.
That's what our history teaches us. If there are 2 ethoses that India teaches, it's to embrace, accept, and respect diversity.
Absolutely.
That's what we have done for 10,000 years. So whatever the political environment may be, hate will always be temporary.
Definitely, yes.
Love will always win. And no matter what you put into it, it's never going to happen. So that's always the message that we
I think it's lovely, that you've taken into aspect all of these things about our culture, about our history as a country and not as individual religions like you mentioned. Everybody's played an equally important part. Whether it's noticed or not, it is equally important. And I really, really respect you as designers from House of Three that you are making other people aware of our heritage this way.
We try. I hope that many other designers also join the bandwagon. Because this is not just about clothing or just about your design sensibility and running a business.
Yes.
It's about your value systems and your responsibility as a citizen.
Absolutely.
To spread the message of love. It's not criticizing anybody. This is a democracy. Everybody has the right to their opinion. Right or wrong.
Yes.
Even if you're wrong, in my opinion, I'd still embrace you because you're entitled to have an opinion.
Exactly.
The other side too should have that point of view. That's what makes India beautiful.
I think that's wonderful. So what about your summer 2020?
Summer 2020 is called Kumari Kandam. Kumari Kandam was essentially a landmass which the Western world calls Lemuria.
Okay.
It existed around the same time as Atlantis. That's the landmass that connects Sri Lanka, Madagascar and Australia.
Oh wow.
So it was a massive landmass and the Tamilians believe that that's the origin of the Tamil civilization.
Okay.
Tamilians have their literature, so there are parts to it. Just like the Indo-Aryans who came in and then Sanskrit happened and then the holy texts happened of Vedas and Upanishads. And Tamilians in Kumari Kandam were on their own trip. Much earlier than the Indo-Aryans came in. So Kumari Kandam submerged 10,000 years back. And it was a robust civilization for a good 3,000-4,000 years before that. So their literature is called Sangam.
Okay.
So there's Sangam 1, 2 and 3. There's no trace of 1 and 2 because it went underwater along with the entire landmass. 3 exists. That was written in mainland Madurai.
Okay.
And how do we know about 1 and 2? Because 3 talks about 1 and 2.
Okay.
And it talks about Kumari Kandam. There was this landmass where all of this happened. Now, the environmental connect is that 10,000 years back, this entire civilization just drowned, perished. We have an impending apocalypse coming to us in the next 30 odd years with the ice caps melting.
Yes.
We cannot afford to go about our lives in oblivion and, we need to change the pattern. The pattern that, you educate yourself, matlab kuch ratke, kuch naukri mil gaya, then you just make money and then you buy a car and then you better car and a bigger car.
There has to be more meaning to it.
Petroleum and petroleum byproducts is killing the globe.
Yes.
Mother Earth is running out of resources. So industrialists and the capitalistic world is going to hide it from you because they care about short-term gains.
Exactly.
It's up to us as people. It's our responsibility how we, what kind of a planet we leave behind for our children. There are many young parents around who have children in their, who are probably 5-10 years old.
Still
or
fairly young, yes.
Some who are teenagers. When they grow up, what kind of a world are they going to inherit?
True.
Are they going to look back at us with respect or are they going to loathe us? That depends on us. You buy fast fashion where your t-shirt costs less than a cup of coffee you buy, think a little harder. It's important.
We are the creators of our own legacies.
Yeah. So these are the stories that we narrate, where it's an aesthetic narrative. It's drenched in culture, in history. You tell people a bit about Kumari Kandam. You tell people a bit about Tamil civilization, and at the same time remind them of their responsibility in current day, taking notes from our past. Not too many civilizations have that luxury to look back into a profound past. We do.
So tell me a little bit about your journey as a designer, since you clearly are a veteran in the industry. Your growth, the kind of exposure that you've gotten, how it's sort of shaped the kind of creativity you have in today's space and time.
Well, veteran, I don't know if I am or not, and I'm not that old, yeah. I'm still young.
You don't look it, don't worry. I'm just saying with the number of years that you've already had in the industry.
That's because I started early.
Okay.
I started working when I was 20 years old.
Okay.
Straight out of college. I was in NIFS, Delhi. My first job got me to Bangalore, and I've made this beautiful city my home ever since.
Wow.
I never left.
Glad you're here.
Well, I'm glad too. The weather just doesn't let me go.
Oh.
So I started in the corporate sector. I started as an assistant designer in Madura Garments. I used to make Peter England shirts. That was a very different kind of design.
Yes.
There it's all about textile design, checks and stripes and fabric textile design, where the count matters, the composition matters, because it's all about, it was a mid-price segment brand. At that time in 2001, we used to sell shirts at the MRP of 300 rupees.
Okay.
So every yarn matters, every inch of the fabric matters, because you have to keep your costs down.
Exactly.
From there, I went on to launch Values and Women. That's my baby. And then I thought that it's time maybe I should start my own label. So I started in 2009. We had a consultancy wing and a styling wing. We had 5 or 6 stylists working with us, where I think we were, I'm not sure about it, but I think we are, if not the first, one of the first styling agencies in the country.
Oh, wow.
And then, and our approach was very objective. We would never put a flower on a model in a shoot because we thought it was pretty, because pretty is subjective, I mean it's relative. We would put it only if it's relevant to the brand. So understand what the brand connect is, who the audience is, what the brand personality is. If it allows it, then accessorize accordingly.
Okay, so it was important for you for the visual to be interpreted the way you intended for it to
Absolutely.
be. Okay.
Not just that, it's more about the client, whoever's the brand owner.
Exactly.
They should understand the brand, rightfully so, better than you would, or a photographer would, or a stylist would. So take notes from them and try to translate those ethoses visually and aesthetically. I've always believed in, primarily because my first, actually Anu's and mine both our first 9-10 years were in the corporate side. Anu's actually much more. She joined the company about 3-4 years back as an equal partner. But till then she was, vociferously working with the corporate side. So after Van Heusen, I went on to do a bunch of other things. I don't want to bore you, but in the latest things that I've done, I was a design partner with Future Group to launch a brand called Ancestry. That's my baby aesthetically.
Okay.
Anu has been the buying director of Kevin Klein. At a certain point of time, she was also the CEO of Indian Terrain Woman. She was the CEO of a beautiful luxury entity, bridge luxury entity called Evolve,
Okay.
etc., etc. So we put all our collective wisdom together into this label, where we always put the customer first. Design to us is always about solving a problem.
Okay.
And empathy is important to be a designer.
Okay.
If you don't have empathy, you don't have the ability to listen. If you can't listen, how are you going to solve somebody's problem? So these are the two very important aspects that a lot of people don't really think about. Self-expression comes next, at least to me. There are various expressionistic designers, but for us, it's always the customer first, because we are making clothes for somebody else.
Yes.
If I can solve your problem, where you're happy, and in solving your problem, I've left a piece of me, then I've done my job.
Wow.
So that's always been our focus.
In fact, this is a new take on empathy, because for me, especially if you don't have empathy, you can't possibly be a good human being. If you're not capable of listening to what somebody else is going through, it's fine if you're not able to help them. At least listen so that they know there's somebody there to support them.
You're damn right.
It's amazing that you as a brand, both of you and Anu, as a brand are sort of looking at it this way to tackle somebody else's problems and giving them solutions with a piece of your soul.
We try.
So, any words of advice for budding designers or people that are still looking for that inspiration to take that leap of faith into the industry?
Not too much. I mean, everybody to each their own, and they'll find their own journey. But focus on the fire within you. Don't focus on 100 people sitting and clapping. It's not, design isn't about narcissism. You should come last. Stay grounded, stay humble, stay grateful for whatever has happened in life. Tomorrow you might be a star. Don't forget the people who've supported you in your foundations, in your stepping stones. Like today we are 10 years old, but there were people who have been there all through, and there have been people who were there in our initial years at launch. I mean, for example, a legendary photographer called Senthil Kumar, he came to see the show.
Oh, wow.
Our first shoot was with him, and he never charged us a penny. In fact, the Kumari Kandam shoot has also been done by him.
Nice.
It was a collaboration this time, and at a mega scale.
Okay.
But anyways, that apart, the advice is always keep value systems intact, all at the back of your head, of gratitude, of humility, and make as much money as you can, but more than that, earn in people, not in money.
Wow.
That's important.
I think that's a lovely, thought to share. So thank you so much for joining me this evening, Shaunak.
This has been a lovely chat.
Thank you. This is Deeksha signing off. I'll see you the next time, and let's talk fashion.